On the way to Calvary, He died for me. He died for me. He died for me. On the way to Calvary, He died for me. He died for me. On the way to Calvary, He died for me. Died to set me free. Yeah, He died to set me free. Good evening, everybody out there. My name is David Magashon, and this night I'm here again to just share my thoughts with us. Something happened over these few days, and it's got me thinking, and some of these things that happened are really sad issues, especially when you see good people, great people being messed up or being sent into early grave, you know. In the name of marriage, you know. Any of you will know I love marriage. I stand for the marital institutions. I hate divorce. I don't believe in divorce. I still do not believe in divorce because God hates divorce. So I hate divorce. I cannot go far more than what God has put down. And in these last days, it doesn't matter. It's not a matter of you marry a pastor or you marry a bishop that makes marriage to be successful. Because apostle, prophet, pastor, in fact, we're even seeing a lot of words. Some time ago, I think it was even one so-called pastor that shot the wife, I think in US. So the issue of a successful marriage is not a function that you are a bishop, that you are a pastor, that you are an apostle. It depends on who you are as a man and how much of training you are given by your parents. You know, I look at all that is happening and I have to tell myself that we parents need to start raising our sons and our daughters well. Because for every of the issues that we carry into our marital life and the way we act, the way we behave, the way we kill another person's child in that marriage, it's a function of how our father and our mother raised us. So, and if families actually raise their children well, I think that we're going to have little of these sad occurrences that is happening, and then we won't be losing good people just in a very wrong situations, you know. There's no doubt that some of these events really sadden my heart. So it gets me thinking, and so that's why I started looking and about the thought of Jesus Christ on domestic abuse. You know, over the time, I've heard so many things. I've seen so many stands on it, both in the worldly circle and both. You know, around. But I choose to look back because no matter what happened, I try to look at what the thought of Jesus look like, what Jesus is saying, what God, the Word of God says about issues. You know, those are something that I try to look at. So quickly, I started thinking this, and I started looking at the whole functionality that before a man or a woman, because this one is not because of men or because anybody. We have cases whereby the woman is the one that killed the man. We have a case whereby we say the man that is the one that killed, you know, the woman. So I'm not on the side of anybody because on this I just stay on equity. It can happen. It can be the man. It can be the woman. But no matter what it is, we need to look at something very important, and that's what I got to know. In fact, one of the things I said to myself this evening is that, you know, anybody who does not know how to forgive has no business getting married. Anyone. And then one of the things I will tell my children is that when you want to marry a man or a woman, find out if that man, if that woman has the capacity to forgive. If the man is a forgiver. Because if the man has not learned how to forgive, if the woman has not learned how to forgive, these are the people that can kill you in your marriage. That's the truth about life. That's the truth. That's what I've come to see, that one of the important things to prepare our people for relationship is that ability to forgive and love. You know, these are the critical things. Now, that's why I said, let me look at the thought of Jesus. I started looking back at the thought of Jesus Christ on the issue of what do you call it now? Domestic violence. Jesus Christ actually, people don't know that Jesus Christ actually offered his thought on this when he was alive. So, and it's always safe for me not to just talk about my look at issues on my own perspective, but to look on the perspective of Jesus. So I want us to be able to share together, and let's look at the perspective of Jesus Christ. And probably I want to start from Matthew 19 and from verse 2. And he records, he said, and great multitude followed him. They followed Jesus, and he healed them there. Now verse 3, this is where you begin to see. The Bible said the Pharisee also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, these people are tempter. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? You know what it means? That is it lawful for a man to put his wife away for every fault, every offense, at every offense, every fault that you see in your wife? You know, you just throw her away. I divorce you. I'm not marrying you. Probably the woman cook food. It's salty. Go back to your father's house. I'm not marrying you. You didn't dress well. Go back to her. You know, at every fault, should the fault of the woman, the fault of the man be a reason for divorce, for throwing away the woman? Not because whatever is applicable for the man is applicable to the woman. There's some women too, at any fault, they can throw away their husband and change the husband. You know, so what you find that the man can do, you can see the availability, because the two are partners. So the same way, if this is what they are saying, so are we going to say at every kind of way you find a fault with your husband, you know, I'm done, throw the marriage away? You know, if I tell him he's stupid and he hits me, I'm done, I can't stay, that's my breaking point, I'm done. So it looked like in those days there were quite a number of how people got rid of their partner. And so probably this was what was happening in the days of Jesus. So at any slight provocations, the people end the marriage. It was so bad that maybe probably in America today, maybe this is what I see sometimes. At every slight provocation, people just end their marriage. And then it's also really happening now in our days in Nigeria. At every slight provocations, we end the marriage. You know, it's so bad. So this is why I begin to look at the thought of Jesus, and I saw the thought of Jesus. So, and the Bible says, verse 4, and he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that that which made them at the beginning, he made them male and female? That's the first thing, you know, that the man cannot do without the woman cannot do without the man. They need each other to exist. For a man to fully exist well, he needs a woman. For a woman to fully exist well, he needs the man. So there's this putting away. It's not an idea of God. From the beginning, he knows you need the man to exist. He knows you need the woman to exist. Then why are we throwing each other away? Why are we killing each other? Verse 5. He said, and said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and the twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no longer what? They are no more twine, but one flesh. And what God therefore has joined together, let no man put asunder. Because look at this thing. The issue at the beginning is about putting asunder, separating, divorcing. You know, once I find a fault with you, I divorce you. Once you find a fault with me, you divorce me. So why? So, but they didn't understand. Why are we divorcing each other? Why are we quarreling? What's the trouble? Yet we need each other, but yet we are fighting each other. Like as if we don't need each other. Our pride blinds our eyes. I don't need you. Look at your fault. Go ahead. To hell with you. Me too, to hell with you. You know, so this kind of schism is all happening. And yet, when they brought it to Jesus, the first thing Jesus established to them is that, look, in all your fightings, you need each other. You can't stay without a man. You can't stay without a woman. You people need to learn this lesson and humble. That your life will never be complete without a man. Your life will never be complete without a woman. We need each other to fulfill the cause of nature and to fulfill the cause of God. That's the first thing. So because of this, it was telling us that the whole summary of marriage is to make a man one. They are not even twined, they are one. So to put marriage asunder is to break yourself. You see, that's why everybody that go through divorce doesn't know that what she or he is doing is that you are destroying, you are breaking yourself. So he told them, he said, listen, once people are married, they are no more two. So it's not that people think you can separate. So separating them is at an expense. It's that for you to, because they have become one, they are one and they are tied together. So it's one person. So when you now say you want to put them asunder, it's like you want to kill them. You want to cut one person into two. You want to divide. You want to break. So if you pick anything that is one and you try to break it, you are destroying it. So marriage of divorce is a destruction. It's a destruction of personalities. Because once marriage makes us to become one person, our person. This is why people don't recover. A lot of people think divorce is cheap. It's not cheap. Because what you put at risk is your personality that you are destroying. So he told them, he said, if you think that they are twined, yeah, you can separate them. But if you know they have become one, then it's not separation. No. Because for you to separate them is killing them. It's death. It's destroying them. It's cutting. It was just like when that time we had this, what do you call it? Solomon and the true harlot. You know, one slept on the baby and died. The other one, baby was alive. And they were claiming, both of them were claiming the baby. And so Solomon said, okay, bring it. Let's cut the one that is dead into half. Let's cut the one that is alive into half. And then we give one to, you know, we give each of them one from each side. And the one that, you know, seems not to care, that is not really the true mother, say, yes, fine, king, that's what we should do. But the mother of the king said, please don't touch that. There's no way. If you divide these things, it's gone. The child is dead. So I give up. Give it to her. When the child grows, we will surely know who he will resemble. We will know where the child is coming from. Let's save the life of the child. So this is the issue sometimes, that when we save our marriage, we save our lives. That's what people don't know. When we save our marriage, we are saving our life. When we break our marriage, we break our lives. We break our lives. We break our lives. So this was the first thing Jesus Christ was trying to make them see what has happened. That the two are no longer, the two are not just, they are not twined, they are one. And so whatever God has put together as one, don't let anybody try to separate them, because it's destroying that very important place. Okay, let's go on to verse 7. And then they said unto him, why did Moses then commanded to give a written, a bill of divorce, or a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? So in the days of Moses, because Here's Jesus telling them, no, there's no room for divorce. I don't know what they were hearing. They were thinking that their argument was, at every kind of fault, can we just do with our wives or do with our partner? And Jesus Christ said, there's no amount of fault that should make you throw away your wife. They say, what are you talking? But Moses gave us authority that we can divorce and we should give them a bill of divorce. We can divorce, we can give them, a bill of divorce to a woman that is divorced. So you are free to marry and I'm free to go my way. So, verse 8, it now says something important here which I want us to see, which I said that's the thought of Jesus on domestic abuse. So, and he now said unto them, and Moses said, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, allow you, the word suffer, allow you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. So let's cool down, because this is where I begin to look at the thought of Jesus about the issue of domestic abuse. And you'll be wondering, where is domestic abuse? It's there. Let me reread it so that you can see it, so that it will make meaning to you. So verse 8, he said unto them, Moses, because of domestic abuse, allow you to put away your wives, but from beginning it was not so. This is how I can translate that scripture in our modern day time, that Moses allowed you guys to divorce, to start having divorce because of domestic abuse. So now let's come into issue, see the whole genesis of domestic abuse. The genesis of domestic abuse starts two people who are called together in relationship to marry and love you till then do us part, and they don't know that no matter how two people, three people within a month or a week, they will start offending each other. Because every man has a weakness, every woman has a weakness, every man has a past, every woman has a past. Some of us will even hide our past until we get into marriage, that our partners begin to see them. And so suddenly our past can start filtering into our marriage, both in attitude, in action. When we are cutting, we block, we cover all our past, all our errors, and all our weaknesses. We choose to display our strength. Most of the time, our partners pick us because of our strength. And that is actually a very bad way to pick. Because when we pick out of a man because of their strength or a woman because of their strength, that is a very bad way to pick. And that is where a lot of us do it. Rather than to pick a man because of his weakness. Everyone that pick a woman because of her strength, you are a parasite. Is a parasite. And most of them are not prepared to understand what makes marriage work. I started seeing that marriage, that's why one important thing we need for marriage to stand is what we call love. And one thing about love is that love edifies, love builds. The purpose of love is that every of us is coming with a baggage inside the marriage. Everybody, I, my wife, there's no man or woman that will come into marriage without a baggage. The baggage is our weak points, our weaknesses, our bad side, our uncomely side that causes pain to our partners. That when our partners start discovering this, and if they have not been taught to love, if they have not been taught to be patient, if they have not been taught, because a lot of us, we have a wrong side of what marriage is all about. We look at this as that everything is about bliss, beautiful, enjoyable. But in the midst of the bliss, there will be, but there's another side of our lives that will surely cause our pain to our partner. This is why we are not prepared about. This is what people do not prepare about. Because your partner has a past that when you discover about you, you may not like it. Your partner has a certain behavior. Maybe, she behaves like a garage boy. She's uncooked with words. She doesn't know how to respect people because of the way she grew. Because a few days ago, I was looking at a particular girl, that the husband just threw her out. But when I listen to this girl, the way she talks like a garage boy. She's so uncooked. And I'm looking, I wonder how this man will have been condoning that. Many men will not be able to take this. But this is where there's something called love. This is why you need to see. This is why you have to be prepared. This is why sometimes when we are making choices, you are making a choice of somebody you can condone their weaknesses, their excessive, their weak points. This is why we make choices. We make choice with our eyes open, that I know the weakness of this woman, of this man, and I can condone that weakness, and I can help him or her to build up, to shape, to remove. That in 10 years time, 15 years time, this woman that is so kind of wayward, this woman that looks like a garage boy or a garage girl, will now turn out to be the most cooked, the most, presentable, the most organized, the most, temperamental, the most, the woman with the most beautiful character, and that anybody have ever seen. This is what marriage is supposed to do. Marriage is supposed to build, turn our weaknesses into strength. Because without marriage, your weaknesses will remain weak at the source of your downfall. But in marriage, God brings us to train each other's weaknesses, so that you bring your weakness, I turn it to strength. I bring mine, you turn it to strength. So that at the end of the day, marriage is a place whereby you turn your weaknesses into strength, and you build up and you become a better person. Unfortunately, a lot of people want to get into marriage today are not prepared, and they are not prepared to turn the weaknesses of others into strength. So, and when you refuse to do that, then you are left with the other chance of, instead of working on your partner to help him, offended. This is the second thing. You get offended. You get offended. You get hurt. You get sad. You get pissed off. So this is where the beginning of hardness of heart comes. When we are friends, when we are married. Now, there's no relationship that everybody that comes in there will not come with their baggage. The most important thing is about, if the relationship goes through, then a lot of us knows how to bear. There's a forbearing. There's tolerance. There's accommodating. There's, the Bible says, there's a covering. The Bible says, love covering multitude of sin. So that's why, see, every marriage that work because there's genuine love. Every marriage that did not work because there was no love in them. This is a problem. Because love does something. Say, love covereth multitude of faults. We want to divorce because of our faults. But if there is love, it will cover the faults. It will take away the faults away. It will turn the faults into strength. It will shape us. So this is why everybody needs where you are loved. And most people, when they want to marry, a lot of people, when they are still dating, they are not themselves. They are pretending. But when you come to a man that loves you, a woman that loves you, you can be honest and you can be yourself, so that you can truly be helped. So I felt that our children, both girls and boys, right from when they are young, need to be taught how to love, how to forgive, how to forbear, how to tolerate, and how to turn other people's weaknesses into strength rather than to ridicule them. What the society do is that we ridicule people because of their weaknesses rather than help each other. Weaknesses differs. And not everybody is trained to manage every weakness. So sometimes the real best bet about marriage is find a man, a woman you can manage their weaknesses. So the rule is that don't marry a man you cannot forgive. Don't marry a man you cannot bear their weaknesses. Don't marry a man you cannot carry their burden. That's the rule. It's a bear ye, because marriage is about where you bear ye one another's body. But I know that somehow as we grow along lives, somehow you need to be trained to handle a particular problem, a particular fault, a particular body. And not only just staying and encourage people into their sin, no, but you have to encourage people out of their wrongs and turning the weakness or the weaknesses into strength. Now, but let's look at it. So he said in verse 8, he said, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, allow you to put away your wives. I have observed over the years that this is where problem starts. When we start a relationship like marriage or any relationship, when offenses set in, if I don't know how to forgive, because I've been offended, I've been hurt. And one of the things I know is that when you are offended, when you are hurt, and you don't know how to forgive, what you will do by our natural nature, by our nature, is retaliations. That's what we do. Retaliation is the natural thing a man does. That's why God even warned us about retaliating. Even the law of Moses in those days even allowed them to retaliate. He told them an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's only Jesus' law in the New Testament that forbade us from retaliating. It is natural to a man to retaliate. So, but there's no marriage that can stand by retaliation. The Bible says, if God mark our sin, if God mark iniquity, nobody will stand. So the same way, if we get into marriage and we are marking our wrongs, the marriage will not stand. So marriage stands by covering multitude of sins. That's how marriage stands. Any relationship that's going to stand, they have forbeared each other, they have overlooked each other, they have helped each other weaknesses, they have not tear each other down because of their weaknesses. And then they stop getting angry. One of the greatest prayers is that your weaknesses will not offend that of your partner. But when your weaknesses begin to offend that of your partner, and your partner does not know how to forgive, then the next thing she or he would do is to retaliate. And when somebody is hurt, without even knowing, if I'm hurt, if you speak to your partner when you are offended, you end up offending your partner. Then the same circle comes around. The guy talks to you again and then offend you again. Then we begin to offend each other in relationship. And one thing I notice about offense is that when somebody offends you, we're trying to shrink away, pull away. We're trying to pull away. The communication will not be where they used to be. We try to want to cease from communicating. Pull away from our partner because I'm offended, and then behave some ways. And the more we keep on hurting each other, the more we start pulling away from each other. The more we are pulling away from each other, we are no longer communicating. Then we become insensitive to each other. This is another thing that happened. Then we also don't see each other in a good light any longer. Our offenses begin to color what our partner is doing. Even when your partner puts a food, the natural food that you eat and you say thank you, you find that it's salty. He didn't say the thing very well. He didn't put the water in the right place. Criticisms and fault finding sets in because offenses. And you are not the master of criticism. While you are doing it, the partner is also picking in and returning to you. And when we start throwing this fist left and right without understanding how to forgive and just say, hey, let's dissolve these things, a big deal, then we become very hardened to each other. With time, we are not sensitive to each other. With time, we are not meeting each other's need. With time, when somebody say, hey, let's have sex, say, no, I'm tired, I have a headache. Our gap begin, even though we're in the same house, our gap begin to increase. At a time, you now look at the woman, you are angry. The woman looks at you, she's angry. Because things are going on. Anger is working. And at any other slight provocation, somebody may become physical or verbal. And fight will start. It won't stop it. And we can enjoy each other in those things. And just because we refuse to talk, and we refuse to forgive, and we refuse to solve situations, this thing can continue in some homes and they don't know how to manage it. And with our ego and with our pride, it becomes bigger. So these were the systems that was happening with the Pharisee, with the Sadducee, and with the people under the law. And they get to a point, the two of them, the man becomes so insensitive, hardened towards the partner. And when somebody is not sensitive to your need, your prayer, you know, you are just like, you start existing as if you are neighbors in the house. You can even be sick, your partner doesn't even care to even take you, to even buy drugs for you. You might even not be able to eat, he doesn't care that you have eaten, you are, because there are a lot of offenses that are generated that have not brought an insensitivity of the heart that brings what they call hardness. This hardness will make you not to feel for your husband or your partner. And at the slightest provocation, you can draw a knife, you can draw a gun. Because the more that their offenses are growing in the house, the more the hatred is growing. And wherever there's hatred, then understand murder is possible. That's why the Bible says he that hated his brother is a murderer. There are several marriages today that the husband hates the wife. And the root is offenses. She offended me. She does this for me. I will never forgive him. I will never forget her. So the same way, I will never forgive her. So it's on either side. So in some places, it's the woman that is full of hatred and anger and regret. And if there's any provocation, if she has a gun, before she thinks she will shoot the husband down and kill the husband. As a matter of time, this is why one will start generating hate for each other. We have started destroying each other. Because at any slight provocation, we could injure, we could kick each other, we could slander each other to defend ourselves. This is how bad it is. This is what takes place. So, at the point of hatred for each other because of offenses, then we have come to a place where any of them can get involved with domestic abuse. Hatred is the cause of domestic abuse. Once you get to a point, it starts all with offenses, generated of offenses that, you know, retaliations, and he grows. Nobody gets to a place to start hating your partner that you won't pledge love for in a day. It is a cumulative of offenses that has brought us to that point. And we did not get there in a day. So when we get there to this place of hardness of heart, insensitivity to each other, and do your own, may I do my own. Cook your food, let me cook my food. Get lost, get well. And these are husband and wife in the same house. And like I said, at any slight provocation, sometimes I put my water there to bath. You took it. What's your right? Why should you take it? You know, you could, you know, the other one can go and boil hot water and throw it at the other one. Don't try it again in your life. It depends where people are coming from. And so, wherever you find that we have this hardness of heart for each other, there's no way. Domestic abuse is inevitable. So this is why I told us here when Jesus said that, yes, Moses asked you, he allowed you to divorce your wife on only one condition, because of domestic abuse. So you can understand. For only one condition, because of domestic abuse. So that's what I can see there. So he looked at, because you have come to a point of hatred, and all of you keep on, you know, it's not only when you shoot somebody or you hit somebody, you kick somebody. Sometimes even with verbal, you know, the women, they are strong with their verbal, you know, abuse. Because a man can be destroyed with just verbal, with words, you know, hurt, bleeding. So before you get there, where you start killing each other, either by punches, by gun, by machete, by throwing punches, by throwing fish, whatever means you get to each other, that it becomes an abuse of each other. Hate. I think one thing about is that hate will turn anything into an abuse. Anything, you know, it will pervert anything. Because when we're supposed to love and when we start hating, there's going to be an abuse and a perversion of God's order. So that's exactly what Jesus said. He said that's when, because God, he knows that if with this hardness of heart, if this woman stay under your roof, in the next 2 weeks, we'll come to your house and come and carry cups. So Moses now look, he said, well, before they start killing all these women, I will start having cups every day. Well, it is good. Let them go. Let them go. Before you shoot the man, you can go. I killed the man. For the parents, you can go. So that was what he said. It was a temporal arrangement because of the nature of the heart of the man. You know. But in the New Testament, can we, and especially see, this is okay for unbelievers. This is okay for people who do not have Christ, who are not under the covenant of Jesus, who do not even have a new heart, who are not born again. If this is what they are doing, we can say, okay, we can leave them. This is the best they can do. But this is not the best that God has to offer anyway. But this is the best they can do. So when the world keep on saying, if the man touches me, I'm out of the marriage. As long as they're unbeliever, this is the way. So go and look at Israelites as a bundles of unbeliever in those days. They're not born again. So for safety, for every reason. So in the world today, you see a lot of women are pushing all these things that once there's a domestic violence, the marriage ends. But that's not the intention of God. But it's a permissive issue. But that's not where God is going. And so it's not even good for any of us to end our marriage because of domestic abuse that forgiveness will have been able to sort out. The best that can happen to a believer that you are in an abusive relationship is supposed to be separation, not to end your marriage. So you will see that. So now Jesus Christ went further, and in verse 9, and he said, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. So you could see, when Jesus Christ came, he never sided, he didn't even side what Moses was giving them. Moses just did this, it was a permissive issue. But he came and said, no. I'm not going to agree with Moses. Moses allowed you because in those days he wanted to mediate. But this is not the issue. This is not the eternal, this is not the plan. Because each time Jesus talked, he talked about eternal plan of God. That from the beginning is not like that. So you don't even leave your marriage because of domestic abuse. You don't even leave it because of the hardness of heart. Moses allowed you. But see, me, I cannot allow you. Wow. Well, that was what he said. Moses allowed you, but me, I can't allow you. I can't allow you. You have to resolve it. Wow. So a lot of people are clamoring today to get out of marriage because of domestic abuse. Must the woman die there? Must it that? No. But I think with what Paul said sometimes, domestic abuse should not end our marriage as a believer. I should not even from what Jesus is saying. But this is his thought on it. But I think Paul expatiated on it that it can separate it. Not so that we can settle the issue, the internals. We can find counseling and settle it. But so he only now went further and did give us the conditioning that can end marriage, which seems to be adultery. So he said, I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whosoever marry he that is put away, exactly committed adultery. Then verse 10, his disciple now said unto him, if that is the case, if that is the case of a man, be so with his wife. Boys, bros, they now say it is not good to marry. They say it's not good to marry. So look at that time. So after Jesus Christ gave them a very big, did not agree with their theory, with what they expect. Maybe they would have expected Jesus Christ to agree with the counsel of Moses. That's okay. Once you have hardness of heart, you can divorce your wife. But when they now find out that even in the hardness of heart, even when my life is a danger, even when this woman is making my life miserable, God said you still can't divorce on that. I'm just laughing because of our today's sisters, a little bit of abuse. They said, no, I'm out of it. But Jesus Christ said, no, you can't go. So I now look at their reaction. Is it until I die there? So I can hear the thinkings of the disciples. So Master, you mean we should stay in, with all this domestic abuse? We should stay here. So if that's the case, so before I die there, then from beginning it's good. Let me not just marry at all. Let me not marry. Instead of get married, and one man won't kill me. And God said, I cannot leave the marriage. I cannot divorce the man. You know, I can see this thing sounding like a lot of women and a lot of people are there each time we look at this issue about God's mind concerning the subject of divorce. That under no circumstances, with what do you call it, with domestic abuse, with hardness of heart, should lead to divorce. You know, this is why they now said, then if that's the case, then let's not marry. Let's not marry. You know, it's too hard. So that's why first I just say, let me share first the thought of Jesus Christ on this issue, on domestic abuse. You know, I can't see issue that Jesus said, if you have a domestic abuse, it should end your marriage. But rather, it can be resolved. No matter how it is, we can resolve. I don't side. In fact, I'm angry, but that's why I said, if you don't know how to forgive, it's better don't marry. But the truth here is, from the word of God, there's no under any condition that domestic abuse should end any marriage. That's what Jesus said here. Moses allowed it because of the hardness of the heart, but yet he has come. He has come to give us a new heart. God, Jesus Christ, has a solution to bad-heartedness. So, and he forgave us. He taught us how to forgive. He knows he has come. He has equipped us. We have a better disposition, even now with Christ, to be able to make our marriage more successful than before. So I think there's no excuse. You know, a bad-heartedness, a hardness of heart is not the reason any longer. You know, we can forgive. He forgave us. We can learn forgiveness from him. So we're in a disposition whereby domestic abuse should not end your marriage. But the truth is that when it's getting very violent and the way we can kill each other, I think we need to look for counselors. We need help. We need help. So in a relationship where you find out that there's an abuse, we need a help. And if it's getting worse, you can need a separation. That's the worst that can happen to anybody undergoing domestic abuse, or separation. But definitely not a divorce. This is just the thought of Jesus Christ that I can see in the Bible on the issue of domestic abuse. You know, so I don't know anything different. So I will never go beyond what Jesus Christ has gone beyond. As much as I've been pained by all that happened in domestic abuse, but it should not end your marriage. You should look for help from people who can give help. And if you cannot get help, then you can separate from the marriage, but not divorce. Because divorce is definitely hinged on the covenant of life. So that's one thing. Today I may not talk about that. So when you are getting married, it's for a lifetime. And if you try that, I've discussed that in the beginning. It's breaking your soul. It's destroying yourself as well. But I pray that God will raise up a lot of counselors, a lot of repairers, a lot of people that can help us fix ourselves, fix our marriages, a lot of people that can help us, therapists, whatever. So I believe that if your marriage is going through a lot of abuses and storms, then two of you really need to walk in to see a counselor, a therapist, somebody who can help two of you to adjust, to learn, basically to forgive. That's one important thing. So I've discovered that one thing that is missing from every bad marriage, that a lot of anger is boiling, a lot of violence are coming out, is that there are a lot of hurt. The people involved need to heal, and the people involved need to learn to forgive, because we need to. And if we can forgive, I think a lot of abuses will stay, a lot of domestic violence will go, and a lot of our marriages will work. So I think this is one thing I can say on this line. And this is just my thought on this, as I can see the thought that Jesus Christ has expressed here. And I hope I've been a blessing to you, and encouragement to keep your marriage. Don't give up your marriage because of domestic abuse. Every one of us, I think, is ignorance that's still causing this. But I pray that whatever you are going through in your marriage, any abuse, that the Lord will sort it out. Whatever kind of pain you have gone through, the Lord will heal you, will restore your marriage, will restore your husband, will restore your wife, and then we put the right nature and character, because once our heart get healed, you know, the Bible talks about the brokenhearted. Brokenheartedness is the root of all manner of abuse. And I pray that God will fix it together. Because the truth is that if you divorce, it will not solve the situation. It will make you as a person to be more worse. Divorce will break you further. And the next person that's going to marry you, it will be worse off. You know. So it's better we face the abuse we're in now and sort it out. And don't die there, look for help. Don't die there. Don't suffer in silence. Look for help. So I think if anybody asks for help, I think people die, probably they didn't ask for help. So, or they didn't seek out for help. So we need professional, you know, counseling. You need to seek for help. If a place is too dangerous for you, leave the marriage. I'm not saying divorce. Separate from the marriage, but you can't leave. As long as your husband or your wife leave, you have no right to marry, because even if you leave your husband, you want to remarry, it's no sort, it will complicate the matter. So that's why even God knows that you can't remarry. Remarriage will not heal you, it will complicate you. So this is one. So anything God says that the solution to an abusive relationship is not divorce and remarry. no, it's actually really handling, sorting things out between you and your husband and healing up. You need a counselor. You need people to help you, people to heal up, to shape your life, and to be able to, you know, come out. So because the issue is that we must always be looking to solution. So if you're in an abusive relationship, is it working out of that? Is it divorce that is the solution to the relationship? It will never. There's nobody that divorced because of a very bad relationship that end up well. Even a particular preacher I saw at a particular time, very vocal, we all love that, married. If you see how they spend money, you know, on that wedding, the flamboyant wedding. I don't know how many months the wedding took when she and the bishop began to have a problem. And then, you know, she said the bishop scratched her or pushed her and she's out of the marriage. You know, and today I'm not sure she's better off in that, you know, and so that's how the whole show is all about. So my greater issue just to express the thought of Jesus Christ, you know, on domestic abuse. So his thought is that abuse is not enough for you to quit your marriage. That's all I can see Jesus said, you know. So the only issue that can quit your marriage is actually fornication, which I'm not going to discuss the whole issue about it today. On another issue, we'll discuss that one. Thank you for being with me. God bless you.